Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel. So a couple of days ago, I posted on the Destiny 2 subreddit asking people to give me their hot takes about the game. And we got about 121 replies, so honestly, I'm thinking about making this a series, so hopefully you guys enjoy it. The first one that we got is by Psychomaniacs. She says that PvP will never be balanced and is more fun when it is unbalanced, and that trials and competitive are just joke game modes that nobody should actually take seriously. Now look bro, if you are into PvP to any capacity, I mean, this isn't really much of a hot take, it's more of a fact, bro. How could you take it seriously when pretty much all of the rewards that they've previously implemented into the game, such as pinnacle and ritual weapons, have pretty much gone out the window? I honestly don't understand why they had to take away things like pinnacle weapons, even though they were pretty much legendaries with exotic perks. They're kind of supposed to be like that, alright? I mean, let's think about it for a second. You know how hard it was to get Not Forgotten and then get the Mountaintop when it was first released? Like, come on man, like yeah, of course it's supposed to be good. One thing that I hope Bungie has learned, or is still learning probably, is that once you take the reward out of any activity, that activity then becomes less desirable and people want to play it less. Thus the case in PvP. I mean, they've already pretty much abandoned it. I don't know when the last time we got a new Crucible map was, and like for the past like 8 seasons, bro, the pinnacle weapons, or sorry, the ritual weapons have just been trash, dude. Like literally, it's not good. It's not looking good for PvP. And honestly, I agree with this take probably more than the other ones that I have lined up today. Fenris says Ariana's Vow was the last great exotic. Now honestly, that was just like random, completely random, bro. That isn't true at all. And you know what, I guess this would have more of a subjective answer anyway, but then you would have to ask the question, what makes a good exotic? Is it the utility? Is it the uniqueness of the weapon and the way it looks? Is it the utility of the weapon, or maybe it's the way it looks and shoots, or maybe a little bit of both? To be honest, I'd venture into saying that it's a little bit of both, and if that's the case, then Quicksilver Storm is probably the last great exotic that you're thinking of. Ariana's Vow came in at a time where, you know, it was pretty much needed. I think that was when GMs were a thing and then champions were introduced in Shadowkeep, so yeah, it was around that time, and I believe it was pretty much one of the first anti-champion weapons, but since then it just gets outdone by a bunch of other weapons. Press says it's not too much to expect new weapon sets / models every season and DLC instead of reskins. Now, depending on who you ask, which is pretty much just like half of the Destiny community, I've found out, saying something like this is a hot take. Apparently, it's not that the Destiny community doesn't get tired of the reskins, but I remember I was having an argument over Twitter like a couple of weeks ago about this exact topic, and it was actually over the Trials hand cannon, which is a reskin of the Iron Banner hand cannon, which is another reskin of a legendary weapon from like year 1, which is another reskin of a green weapon, and then the reskin just goes back to blue. There's a ton of weapons like that in Destiny, and it's kind of like, yo, when you notice it, it starts to make you question whether or not Bungie actually cares about the game or not, because they've been doing this since year 1. I understand that it might be easier, right, but sometimes the easy way out isn't always the best way, especially when you're talking about a multi-million-dollar game and when you're literally getting away with microtransactions that Activision wishes that they could. And I feel like for the people who don't have a problem with this, they just gotta understand that, dude, for as long as you've been playing the game, whether that has been a year, 2 years, 3 years, or even a couple of months, you've probably gotten the same gun over and over and over again, but you haven't noticed it. Just because it changes the name, it changes the look a little bit, doesn't mean it's not the same gun. Expecting new designs and new models to refresh things, like, yeah, I mean, dude, come on, that's kind of expected. And you could say the same thing with the enemy types in the game. We've been fighting the Cabal, the Hive, the Fallen for years now. It's time to switch things up, dude. Let's get like at least 2 new factions. So for this next one, Chili says that this game needs weapon sunsetting. Now, you know, weapon sunsetting is a very hot and controversial topic in the community for numerous reasons. One being that we don't want our favorite weapons that we've had for like the past 2 years being sunsetted, and we can't bring it into the next expansion or next DLC. But I feel like the only reason why that's a problem is because Bungie doesn't give us enough to play with. Like, yeah, we'll get that random expansion with like 30 new weapons, let's say, right? And out of those 30 new weapons, maybe 5 of them are good. The rest are really just turned into legendary shards every time we get them. And I understand, you know, this is a game that has to have good and bad weapons, but at the same time, what's the point in introducing like 30 new weapons if you're only going to make like 5 to 10 of them good? I promise, if you come up with some new gun designs and, you come up with some new perks. And I'm not saying they haven't been coming up with new perks, but if you give us something new to play with, right, something that's actually good, sunsetting won't be a problem. If you keep doing that consistently, it won't be a problem. You could have implemented that and definitely gotten away with it. It wouldn't have gone over as bad as it did. Oh my god, bro. So Malm says, I'd rather have a reprised Patrol Zone than Neomuna. It came out earlier this year and I already dread going back just for about anything. Bro, honestly, I don't understand the hate with Neomuna. Actually, I mean, I understand it a little bit, but I'm just saying, it's a new location, alright? To be honest, it's not as bad as people say it is, but wanting a new patrol zone instead of an entire planet is wild, bro. That's the first time I've ever heard that. That's hilarious. To be honest, I think the only reason why people hate Neomuna so much is because it's tied to a very bad story, that being the Lightfall campaign, if you didn't know. But I'm just saying, had Lightfall's campaign been good, I don't think people would hate Neomuna as much. Okay, and the last one is going to go to Dino. He says that Destiny 2 is in a good spot right now, and Nimbus is an underrated character, and he has a lot of character, I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but as well as a pretty decent arc, and their most recent dialogue is a lot less cringe. Okay, so Destiny is not in a good spot right now. Like, I think we all know that. Had he said that last year during Witch Queen, it probably still wouldn't be true, but it would have been a little bit more believable. This current season, season 21, I mean, it's not a bad storyline at all. Zevo Wrath finally gets introduced, and we go on the deep dives, right? It's an upgrade from last season, which it really isn't hard to do at all. But to say that Destiny is in a good spot right now is to ignore all of the server and lag problems that it has, all the error codes that we get literally every week. I mean, how many times has Bungie tweeted on Twitter going down for emergency maintenance? Like, I mean, we just had to make a video a couple of months ago because people were clamoring about Destiny 3 happening, and Destiny needs a new engine, which I do still agree with. It just can't happen right now. So he either hasn't been playing the game for this year, or bro's trolling. Now, as for the second point that he made, Nimbus being an underrated character, he has yet to prove that. I don't think you can give me any example, either in the lore or in the story that we've been shown, as to why Nimbus is underrated. It's almost like he's a worse version of Cade, in my opinion. Like, he tries to come up with these cringy jokes, and his dialogue just isn't there, bro, like literally. Also, the Cloud Strider's design is kind of like fucking weird. I don't like the Cloud Striders at all. I commonly make fun of them whenever they die, Rohan. And honestly, his character hasn't been involved in the story enough to have a character arc. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for me today. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button. If you want more content similar to this, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. Sub up, stay safe, and peace.